Testing. Excellent work for you, Nusuke. That was superb. Where was in my mouth the entire time? It was almost unbelievable. Oh my god, I'm retarded. Okay, there we go. Now it's fixed. It was almost unbelievable. I mean, looking at you in there. You were drenched in sweat, your eyes popping, and you were grinding with something. It was a pretty sight. Before I knew it, we started to find inconsistencies in the testimonies. I think you might have a natural talent for being a lawyer. Forget it. It's terrifying. If I get through this, I don't ever want to see the inside of this courtroom again. Anyways, it looks like we exposed your fancy lady at last. Miss Giselle Brent, student from Great Britain, is she? That's what I was trying to tell everyone from the start. Dr. Wilson wasn't alone. There was a young woman with him, like I've been seeing all along. Yes, you haven't you? Not be overly confident in my parents' conversation, I'm sure of. Yes, I can see that. So, about this young gentleman. Thanks to our detective friend, she was hastily escorted away from the scene, it seems. Did you see what happened with that? No, I didn't see any of it. I was just on my way out of the restaurant myself, then, on the floor next to Dr. Wilson's table, I noticed there was a gun lying on the floor, just after I bent down and picked it up. I didn't have time to think about where the sound of the gunshot came from. The waiter ran over to me, looking as white as a sheet. He wanted me to asked thinking about the detective. Yep, it is subject without a moment's delay. Yes, because I shut in the pantry. I have no idea what happened outside the dining area. Ah, there you are. Well done, both of you. Professor Mikotoba. Well, seems I was right. The pair of you make an outstanding team. You exceeded my expectations, I have to say. Yes, it seems you planned this from the start. You arranged things so that I wouldn't be able to act as a lawyer in this job. Our modern country is still in its infancy. Our justice system even more so. Which is why I firmly believe that we need to send our brightest young stars overseas to learn all they can. I wanted to avoid a situation that may result in your study tour to Great Britain to be cancelled. Well, makes no difference. Lawyer or otherwise, if I'm the kind of man who doesn't help his best friend avert the worst crisis of his life, I shouldn't waste everyone's time going to study overseas anymore. What? What are you saying, Cosmo? So that's your stance. I was afraid you'd feel that way. Cosmo. Well then, it looks like it all comes down to you, young man. To me? Yes, you need to prove your innocence. I know what really took place in my restaurant. I must say, I very much want to know the truth. After all, a personal connection to this case. You said the same thing earlier this morning, didn't you? If you don't mind me asking, Professor, did you know the victim? Yes, I did. As you're probably aware, Dr. John H. Wilson was a visiting professor from UMA. And as it was I who invited him. Oh, I see. I didn't know that before. Anyway, you're about to go into battle. The victim was a university professor from Great Britain, and a well-known one at that. Naturally, the government is looking to identify and punish the culprit as quickly as possible. Let's not forget who we're up against. A gentlewoman who's involved in our police bureau went to extraordinary lengths to hide. Yes, and I'm sure the prosecution will be using every tool at their disposal to quash your case. But I have no doubt that you pair will put up a good fight, right to the last. Best of luck. Thank you. Now then. I need to run an errand at the university at once. There's something I need that I think we may need. Of course. Good luck, Cosmo-san. Defendant Naruhodo. Court recess is over. Please make your way back inside the courtroom at once. It's time. Let's get back to it, partner. Let's go in there and deal with the decisive blow. Before those old fossils know what's in them. Cosmo? What? Thank you. Really. What for? Well, if you hadn't said you believed in me, then I'm really sure I would have been found guilty by the as a lawyer and as a friend. And from you, that means a lot. If I'm found guilty in this trial, he's really going to be a honest training of study abroad. That's the kind of true friend he is. This isn't just a battle anymore. Whoever's we're up against will absolutely can't have long for us. Alright then. I'll save my thank yous for after the trial. You can treat me to one of those sukiyaki noodles I like from the Yome cafeteria on the University Street. With the extra large portion, of course. hereby resumes the trial of Ryunosuke Noroharu. Prosecutor Achi, you managed to subpoena the witness.
Yes, Your Excellency, against all odds. And thanks to a certain young stripling, the prosecution is now under the rather painful scrutiny from the government.
Sorry. Let the government scrutinize. That's their job. It's nothing to worry about.
It's highly unlikely that the good relations we forged with Great Britain will emerge from this trial unscathed.
But you still think it's nothing to worry about when the new treaty breaks down and our nation's founders? Again, terribly sorry. If its friendship between our nations is really so fragile, then the treaty isn't worth the piece of paper it's working on. You really have nothing to worry about, Ryunosuke. What do you mean? A secret trial, anxiety over some foreign governments, opinions, bungled investigation, missing witnesses. Is this what our nation's justice system is? Is this the Supreme Court of Japan or of England?
Shut up, you jumped up rookie boy. You and your friends know nothing of the situation our nation finds herself in. By letting ourselves through this great world power, we'll become strong. Diplomacy has never been more critical. Steady political maneuvering is what will secure our futures.
I won't deny that I'm no expert in this system. One who could hardly study harder, too. But standing here now in our Supreme Court, there's one thing that I feel very strongly. A country that fails to uphold the truth in its justice system is a country that with no future at all. Well said, Ryunosuke. Despite the wide-eyed look of terror.
You little brats!
Thank you, Counsel. This court is the pinnacle of our nation's justice system. It exists solely for the personance of truth. With that in mind, this trial will now resume the next witness taking the stand. The visiting student from Great Britain, Miss Giselle Brett.
Yes! Your Excellency. Well, what a delight it is to welcome such a fine gentlewoman to Japan, and from such a distant land. See, someone must bring...
What just happened? Cat, are you still in here? Kitty? See someone bring English tea. In English, no discussions take place without tea. Is that true? No idea. So,
Could we possibly trouble you to state your name and occupation for the court?
Of course. My name is Satoru Hoshinaga. I have been working undercover as a head waiter at the Lost Country of my troop.
Yes, we all know about you already.
Inspector Hoshinaga, where are your manners? It's England. It's always ladies first. Is that true? No idea. More importantly, a little earlier today you said something. You said that your powers of restoration are the one thing you're sure of. Oh yes, I think I did, didn't I? Yet your description for this amazing sight was simply a woman. Sorry, Ryunosuke, but powers of observation aside, your powers of description are sorely lacking. Guilty.
So, dear lady, once again,
If we may trouble you for your name and occupation, please. What the hell?
fancy. I'm terribly sorry, dear lady, but... What? Fancy, 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 fancy. Fancy, 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 fancy. The lady says her name is Giselle Brett. She comes from London, England. She's a visiting research student currently enrolled at United University's medical facility. My, what a rare treat to hear such a dulcet of tones in the delightful language of the British people. I'm afraid I don't understand a word you said, but it was as beautiful as hummingbird's song. As far as I can tell. The detective is translating her words faithfully enough. Yes, I agree. You obviously do find it a good costume. English doesn't rattle you at all, does it? Nor you further paying attention in English classes for your school. The court thanks the beautiful lady for taking the stand. Now, if you made trouble, you confirm something was right. 3 days ago, at a restaurant called La Carnival, a grim murder took place. The court has been led to believe that you were dining there with victim Dr. Wilson at the time. Is that correct? Fancy, 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 fancy. Fancy, 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 fancy. She says, yes. This could take some time. So even if she's studying here in Japan, she can't speak any Japanese? She'd like to apologize for disappearing from the scene. She says that it was due to making a presentation at the university, so she had to leave immediately. Interesting. When you're the one who engineered her escape. I was just following special orders from the bureau. Well now, dear lady, would you be so kind as to cast your eyes over this photographic bit? Seeing as you were so unfortunately present at the scene of the crime, could it be that your resplendent eyes caught sight of the wicked perpetrator, perhaps? Apparently, it was very frightening. A sorrowful sight. Do you mean to say... Yes, it would appear the lady did witness the crime. The very moment when the accused, standing right there in this corner, shot the victim in cold blood. Order! Order in the court! Did you hear that, Your Excellency? Here we have an absolutely conclusive witness statement. Well, it looks like it's clear now. Clear who our real enemy is. Unfortunately, I will have to ask you formally to testify if you will, please. Kindly tell the court exact nature of this frightening, sorrowful sight you described. How much you want to bet that she actually speaks Japanese? A frightening, sorrowful sight. I'd arranged a meeting for a late luncheon with the Dr. Wilson that day. The professor was unable to eat, so I ordered for myself only a beefsteak. After a while, the accused came over to greet the professor. Then they got into a fierce argument. Then, not long afterwards, the accused took the professor's gun and shot him before my eyes. I don't carry a gun myself, so obviously I couldn't have been the culprit. This is a gun.
Yes!
No, I did not have any kind of argument with the professor at all.
Objection!
Quiet, you filthy wretch. Look at you, you black-hearted blackguard, and look at this Snow-White angel. I'm sure even the dark-minded scoundrel like you can imagine whose words the court is going to believe. You're still making the same mistakes for your new escape. You mustn't blurt out when you're goaded like that. That's a lesson you need to learn. Okay, but it's so annoying. Of course, I was at the scene as well. I took statements from this young lady and the two witnesses who testified before and reported back to the Bureau. It was decided that Miss Brett was not involved, so I let her go. This many last two statements were completely worthless, however. Well, even so. On the day in question, the lady was wearing the same outfit as she is today. As you can see, there is nowhere about her person where she could conceal a firearm. Is it in the hat? Oh, think she could hide a gun almost anywhere in that outfit if she wanted to. Unless, until the precise location where the witness's example weapon can be shown is important. There are no pockets in the side of my outfit. I have nowhere to hide a gun. Those are the witness's own words on the matter. That's ridiculous. If I were allowed to lift up her dress, I can prove it. Don't think about doing anything rash, Renosuke. But I didn't fire the gun that I picked up. There must have been another gun there that day. You're right about that. Which means this lady was hiding a gun somewhere. Yes, that's what I meant. To do so, we will need to pull her testimony apart. The defense may now cross-examine the witness. Oh, yes, Your Excellency. I'd arranged for a meeting or a luncheon with Dr. Wilson that day.
Yes!
After 2 p.m., in fact. That's really quite a late lunch, isn't it?
Objection!
You don't keep up with the latest fashion from Great Britain, do you? Late luncheons are in vogue. Isn't that right? No. Doug. The decisive English no has quite a sting to it. The gentlewoman is currently working in the victim's laboratory, research laboratory, it seems. So it's apparently a daily occurrence that they would lab watch together. But on the day in question, the victim had another appointment at the clinic first. Yes, she improved from the medical report card that was submitted as evidence earlier. That's right. Miss Brett and the victim went to lunch following the victim's treatment, which is why it was so late. Ah, yes, it makes all perfect sense, actually. Such a wonderful logic. What a shining example of English intelligence this fine gentlewoman is. So you both arrived at the restaurant. What happened next? The professor was unable to eat, so I ordered for myself only. A beef steak.
Yes!
He was unable to eat, you say. And was that because he had his tooth removed at the Hoda clinic, correct? That's right. You're supposed to actually check with the witness before answering. Was Miss Brett aware of the fact? It seems so, yes. She heard from the professor was able to have some dental treatment. So that would mean that it was you who ate the steak picture here. Is that right, Miss Brett? That's right, yes. The print you have there shows the table exactly as it was left after the horrifying events. Exactly as it was left? Dear me, a harrowing experience. You must have yet to have traveled to this land on the far side of the world and be embroiled in such a tragic incident. Have no fear, my dear lady. I will crush the evil fiend that has subjected you to terrible plights. So the victim, Dr. Wilson, had nothing to eat or drink at all? That's right. I think that's some carbonated water. Just water. Yes, the professor was unable to eat. He had been given permission to drink water. It appears that the diners toasted their lunch with a glass of water each. They raised a glass of carbonated water. About the witness's last statement. last statement of yours, Miss Brett, has a profound bearing on this case. Well, how fascinating. Do tell us, what is profound bearing? The significance of the statement will become apparent with the time when the time is right. The defense calls for witness's last statement to be formally added to the testimony. Well, sidestep counsel. Very well, Miss Brett. Kindly repeat what you just said to be added to your official testimony. Gladly, she said. That was brilliant, Cosmo. I'm going to remember that one. Which one? The significance will be apparent when the time is right. I could really use that phrase. I'd hope there are some more useful tips you're picking up from experience than that.
Yes!
Found it. That's it. Let me just confirm something, please. It's to do with this photographic print. Just a short while ago, you spoke of this print showing a victim's table at the crime scene. That it was exactly as it was left. That is correct, the lady says. Well, it's odd. Very odd. Dear me, what's odd in the defense's inability to express itself? What is it about the print that makes it look odd to you? Well, it's obvious. It's the cheers. The cheers? Miss Brett just told us that she and the professor said cheers over a glass of water. But if that's true, there should be 2 glasses on the table, not 1. Ah! You're quite right, Counsel. There's only 1 glass picture.
Objection!
How are you supposed to be impressed by this nitpicking over Mintinate? What possible difference does this presence or absence of glass make to the game?
Objection!
Minuete, you say? Could it be that the detective here removed the glass from the table to conceal the lady's presence? Of course not. I would never do something so reckless. But there should have been 2 glasses on the table. Or are you going to try and tell me you can't only click with only 1? You're quite right. I certainly took 2 glasses to the table. Inspector, what did the lady say? It would seem that Miss Brett is who took the glass from the table. What? It was so terrifying, everything that happened. I panicked and thought I should try to hide the fact that I'd been there at all, she's saying. Good gracious. Sorry. Yeah, as I should from the court before. This is of no consequence at all. Oh, please. You must remember that the student has just murdered this lady's luncheon companion before our very eyes. Who would blame him for concealing a glass or 2 from the state of disarray? That's absurd. Oh, really? So, do we take it from you that you're now going to accuse the vulnerable and young and beautiful woman of mischief? What? No. This can't be put down to mischief. I'd like to know exactly how the lady took the glass from herself. It would seem that she slipped into a small handbag she was carrying. A handbag, you say? Yes, Your Excellency. A small hand-held pouch commonly carried by well-to-do women.
So, the beautiful lady has a very gracious to explain how and why she removed the glass from the scene now. However, the fact remains that this glass has absolutely no bearing on the case. The student has been trying to confuse the court with logical reasoning, but in the end it comes to nothing. No pretentious accusations. You've wasted enough time already.
Indeed, the lady has offered a satisfactory explanation as to why she removed the glass. I think henceforth we can consider this matter to have no bearing on the case. Next counsel for defense, are you in agreement? Well, I don't know really. If you want to pursue this matter further, you're going to need to show that there's subtlety for significance. Yes, you're right. So shake the glass away from the handbag. There's an even significance than theirs.
Wait. The lady put the glass in her handbag, you say? Yes, do try to keep up. It's already been explained to the court that the English would would carry his handbags for small items. Let me see. A little while ago, Miss Brett stated the following. There are no pockets in my outfit. I have nowhere to hide a gun. Hey there, Bob. But what she forgot to mention was her handbag, in which it would be perfectly possible to conceal a gun. You're right. Well done, partner. I had a feeling you'd pick up on that, too. What are you insinuating, you vile blackguard? It's really very simple.
The gunshot was heard when the defendant picked up the gun from the restaurant floor. As he didn't fire the gun, we can deduce that there must have been another firearm with the scene. A true murder weapon, if you will.
You can't be seriously suggesting. Inspector Hoshinaga.
Yes? Did you or did you not search Miss Giselle Brett's handbag on the day of the murder?
No, sir, I did not. As I thought. In other words, another gun, the one that actually used to kill the professor, could have been hidden in Miss Brett's handbag. No! Order, order, order. What is the meaning of this, Inspector?
The meaning of what, Prosecutor Ashi?
Why on earth did you not have the lady open her handbag and show you the contents at the time? Thanks to your bumbling incompetence, now she has to endure these uncomfortable accusations.
Brilliant work, partner. Now we have a chance to expose the real one behind the mask. Do you think so, Cosmo? Well, what a sorry situation. Clearly, you have no faith in the police. As I said, I did not search the lady's handbag after shooting, simply because it was unnecessary. What? Unnecessary in what way? To think the student lawyer, really. I have a piece of evidence here that I'd completely forgotten about. This is a photographic print. It's a see-through? This is a print of the photograph I thought that would be prudent to take immediately after the shooting. As you can see, it clearly shows Miss Brett's handbag. Well, I never... You can see right through what's inside. That's right. Apparently, mesh work bags like these are at the height of fashion. So the contents are clearly visible. Exactly. So there was no need to search the lady's handbag. If there had been a gun inside, it would have been immediately obvious. Edgeworth isn't in this game, Rick. As you can see, there's nothing to imply that Miss Brett's guilt here. Thank you for helping to prove that. Order! Order! Inspector Hoshinaga, you will submit that print as evidence at once! Certainly, Your Excellency. I think you've had long enough to cross-examine the witness counsel. What the hell is that? Is that a birthmark? The court now has shown considerable evidence. As the photographic print just submitted to the court appears to have no further significance. I am satisfied that there's no longer any room for doubt in this matter, and I must make my ruling. Indeed, there's only one logical conclusion. That this pathetic rookie slumped over the bench before us is the only possible perpetrator of this crime. No. Just when I thought I was beginning to turn things around. I'm in a worse situation than I was at the start. Cosmo. I'm sorry, Ryunosuke. Now that the cross-examination of the witness is over, there's no way to force the trial to continue. What? You mean this is it? I must say, you put up quite a fight for a rookie student, but the weak are meat, while the strong eat. You were wasting your time. There's no way to defeat true justice. A fact that you can chew on your heart's content from the inside of your cell. This can't be happening. Am I really going to be found guilty for a crime that I didn't commit? And Kazuma. His treatment when his study at Great Britain will slip through his fingers. Kazuma. What? Is there really no chance now of turning this trial around? You heard the judge. There's nothing about the last photograph the detective produced that we can't contest, which means there's no basis on which we can state for the trial to continue. Very well. I will now proceed immediately to the ruling. It seems we will be able to have a report to the British government on time after all. That smug little. Ryunosuke Naruhodo, having considered all the evidence placed before me, I hereby find you... Finally, I hit the table hard. Wait, Your Excellency. Ryunosuke? I don't think you can rule on this case.
Objection!
This is amateurish getting tedious. But when His Excellency deems that the trial's over, he gives his ruling. This is the most basic rule of the courtroom.
Yes!
Your Excellency, just a moment ago, you said this. This photographic print just submitted appears to have no further significance. There is no longer any room for doubt in this matter, and I must take my ruling. Now, that means if there was a problem with the evidence, significant detail, then the ruling on the case at this time would be out of the question.
Objection!
That's blatant straw crushing. Look at the photographic print. All of it shows is a handbag and a gentlewoman carrying on the day in question. There can be no problem with this evidence. Oh, that voice hurts. You better know what you're doing, Ryunosuke. I understand your objection, counsel. I need to make sure all something else. submitted by the detective has not gone over court scrutiny. However, I fail to see how we can glean any new information out of this inquiry. Ha! My thoughts are exactly. Really, the prosecution has become tired of this rookie's desperate wheezes. Yes, I am desperate, but this isn't a wheeze. There's something about this program which just seems. If only I could put my finger on it. Very well, I will grant the defendant one final opportunity. What? But be warned that if I'm unsatisfied with your response, here, the trial will be over in immediate effect. Do I make myself clear? Yes, Your Excellency. So, take another look at this photographic evidence, Inspector. In this case, submitted before. You identified before where in this print we shall see this victim to the I think it's that, but... What is that?
Yes!
Look at this, here. That's a very unusual mark on the victim's wrist. That is true. It looks like almost like a burn of some description.
Objection!
Dear me, I was pondering what this portfolio would come out with. A burn, you say, on the victim's wrist? Clearly, this has nothing whatsoever to do with the magnificent lady's handbag. I can't do that voice anymore. Yes, that's a burn mark. You're right. Go on, Inspector. Police coroner also noticed it when he was performing the postmortem examination. It was deemed unrelated to the cause of death, so he didn't note it in his report. What did he tell you? In any case, we have no idea when the victim suffered this burn, do we? No possible way of knowing either. Are you joking? The more I looked at it, the more I find myself intrigued by this curious shape of this mark. However, as Prosecutor Ashley points out, unless a firm connection be shown, I cannot allow any firmer time to be spent on the precise details of this burn. English. Hold on, I'm dealing with that guy. Hold on. I need to open up the moderator menu. Is it this one? That's my dashboard. I'm trying to... How do I... Okay, I'm dumb. How do I ban him? I can remove the message, but how would I ban him? Does it be in the moderator window? Miss Brett had much more work than any other university staff. She would like to know if she may be excused from the stand. Oh, of course, of course. Which chance will you up? I'm quite sure His Excellency is about to give his final ruling anyway. What you think of this? Do you believe this work does absolutely the case? To be honest, I'm not really sure. But if I don't keep pushing, it's all over. So I was thinking I should keep digging and digging. Nope, that might come to something useful. Yes, you're right. I am? If we can just link that burn to this case, if we can do that, we might be able to prise this shutting door back open again. Just give up, Counsel. There's no possible hope to do that. I'm afraid without evidence, I cannot allow you to pursue what little more is more than conjecture. But what if we had evidence? Evidence that even if we removes the burn on the victim's wrist in the case, then would you allow it? I would, yes. Tell the truth. I hadn't noticed that burn. But as soon as you pointed out what I did notice, was the color draining from Miss Brett's face. Really? I had to find the link between that burn and the case. This is the moment of truth. It's not a find some evidence that proves what that burn really means. So then, defense will now present evidence to the court. Evidence that demonstrates the exclusive connection between the victim's burn and the trial. Wait! Oh my god! I found it!
Yes!
What's this, Counsel? And yet another print? Yes, Your Excellency. I believe this photograph prints are an amazing invention. When we humans look at the scene, we miss things. But in the photograph, things we may have looked over at the time are not recorded for forevermore. Do hurry up, Rookie. What are you trying to say? To inconvenience this poor lady any further really would be quite inexcusable. Actually, we may need you to stay with us a little longer if you don't mind, Miss Brett. You see, it's very clearly visible in the other photograph. How did the victim come across have an unusually shaped burn on his wrist? The reason is recorded here forevermore. What? How?
Objection!
You can't fool me with your little bluffs, boy. If that's your game, let's see how you can play this out. Show exactly what you mean. What's this photograph that explains the reason behind the victim's burn?
Yes!
The beefsteak? Actually, the point is the metal plate that the steak was served on. The plate? Oh! Your Excellency, are you alright? As you can see, there's an emblem on the plate. I would guess it's some sort of trademark of La Carnival. The emblem on this plate. And the victim's burn mark are exactly the same shape. Ryunosuke, you genius! You're spot on. which means the victim must have suffered this burn while he was present at the restaurant.
Objection!
But even if that is the case, we can't know if it happened on the day in question or not. It could have been the day before that. It most likely happened at some other unrelated time. Well,
Objection!
sadly, Prosecutor Ashi, the chances of that happening are extremely slim. Thanks. Why? The outline of the burn is clearly discernible. Such a serious injury would have caused quite the commotion in the restaurant. Don't you agree, Inspector Hoshinaga? I can't imagine any such a terrible disaster, sir. But, I would say, looking at the picture of the wound, that wasn't suffered very long ago. And although it's not particularly large, it's extremely well defined, as the defense just pointed out. There's no mild burn, that's for sure. Can you be more specific, Inspector? Well, let's see. If the plate was around at the 90 degrees centigrade, a burn like that would have been taken around 3 seconds. And inconceivable that the victim would have let out a scream of pain. I've been investigating at the restaurant for several hours already, but I've not heard anyone scream at all. And as the head waiter of the La Carnival, I can testify to that without hesitation. But you're a detective, not a waiter.
Yes!
Hold on. There you have it. Something is right here. He had a root canal, and he had laughing gas used on him. He probably didn't feel the pain. Anyone who burnt themselves on a pipe and not play for 3 seconds would scream away. There's no question of that. And yet, Inspector Hoshinaga never heard Professor scream. Not that day, or any before it. That's right. Strange thing is, on the day he was shot, I didn't hear him cry out either. What are you suggesting? Well, the professor had been carelessly laid his wrist on the plate for anything like 3 seconds that day. That would be beyond careless, I think, Counsel. Then the rest of us in the restaurant, myself, the sergeant, and the old 18th, all of us, without question, have heard him scream. Wouldn't you agree, Prosecutor Achi? Well, yes, I suppose. So the question is, why didn't a single person hear Dr. Wilson scream? I almost don't believe it. Ryunosuke, do you think? Can it really be true? Not even trying to arrive at a conclusion like this. I'm starting to think that maybe we've been led into a terrible trap. There's only one explanation I can think of to make sense of this apparent possibility. On the day in question, when he suffered the burn to his wrist, Dr. Wilson hadn't noticed the burn. Yes, Professor, being absent-minded as usual, was unaware of his hand falling into the pipe not play and didn't even notice the burn. He didn't even notice the Professor, and yet here you are, living as a bumbling scatterbrain. How about I hold your wrist on a pipe and plate, and we'll see how your bumbling scatterbrain copes. Perhaps the screaming you let out will wake you up a bit. It's nice that there's a friend just about the between us partner. Don't call me partner after coming out with nonsense like that. This is a critical moment. Maybe we're our only chance to turn things out in our favor. So come on, Ryunosuke. You can do it. Or rather, you have to do it. You're the only one who can. There's only one explanation. remained silent while his wrist was burning on a piping hot plate for 3 whole seconds. That's clearly impossible, apart from one particular situation. Counsel, are you suggesting? Yes, it is only possible that the man was already dead. Already dead? Knowing what we know now, it is only possible explanation. When the beefsteak was brought to Dr. Wilson's table that day, the professor was already dead. That's madness! Order, please. Counsel, please explain this absurd notion at once. The victim was killed by a gunshot. That's right. You're absolutely right, you can't. This is just another good exploit by the rookie. Well, clearly he has no grasp on the facts.
Objection!
No, Prosecutor Archie. It is you who have no grasp on the facts. I beg your pardon? As soon as it became apparent that the victim had suffered that burn while at the restaurant, this whole case is turned upside down. Or have you not grasped that yet? Your Excellency, the court must hear from this witness again. It's true, as we now believe, the victim was already dead before the gunshot was heard. It's highly likely that Miss Brett knows something about it. Incredible. I certainly didn't anticipate this twist of events. I'm sorry to say, Miss Brett, that you will have to forget about your lunch engagements. But, Your Excellency, the justice system in our country may be at its infancy. Rest assured, all reasonable doubt must be dispelled before I can prepare to pass judgment. Thank you, Your Excellency. What is that smile? Yes, of course. I mean, I'd be delighted to help. Especially if it helps relations between my country and yours. Miss Brett, you speak Japanese? Well, of course I do. I'm studying your country after all. But then, why have you been speaking through an interpreter until now? My mother's tongue, the Queen's English, is the most refined and elegant language in the world. As a gentleman, I try to avoid speaking in vulgar tongues as much as possible. But it seems men in this land possess none of the chivalrous virtues of English gentlemen. So I can see from I shall have to learn myself to communicate with you at all on. Well, you are the epitome of a true English gentleman. We are truly honored by this. This lavish consideration you graciously afforded us. I see. In that case, Miss Brett, I will now ask you to testify in your own words about the events leading up to the death of the victim, Dr. Wilson. So we're finally going to hear your own words on the matter. Things are getting interesting, Ryunosuke. The victim's death. Unfortunately, I have no idea when the poor man burned his wrist like that. When the waiter brought my steak, the professor and I raised our glasses in toast. As far as I heard, the post-mortem report showed no other possible cause of death besides gunshot. There's some other way the man's life can take without leaving trace clues that do show. But of course, this country's inferior investigative parties probably wouldn't pick up on it. Oh, I hate her already. That's most captivating and beautiful testimony. Will go down in Supreme Court's history. Thank you. Easy does it. Oh, that is last amount of slowing my lips with this coarse tones of you unbecoming tongue. Forgive me. I do hope I've insulted anyone.
Not at all, not at all. It was delight merely to hear you speak, dear lady. And it's very clear from your testimony that this boorish talk of the victim's burn is utterly well, I will be speaking to your country's Minister of Justice about what happened here today. The Minister of Justice? May that irritating little bully of a student be given the harshest punishment possible. Amen. Huh? Was that a prayer then? Well, you'll have to forgive the irritation, Miss Bennett, but to put up with the cross-examination. I expect you to notice that this little bully of a student, as you put it, doesn't miss much. I'm sure I don't need to remind you, Counselor, that this cross-examination is true. If you don't demonstrate any problems with this witness testimony, I will be ruling on the case immediately. Is that clear? Holy shit. Yes, sure, so let's see. Then you may proceed with cross-examination. The victim's death.
Yes!
But his hand was on the searing hot plate for at least 3 whole seconds. You cannot have noticed. Do you think so? Yes, you something. Sorry. Ever since I arrived, or even still now, the fly on these unsightly black trousers of yours has been wide open. You cannot have noticed. What? What fun! You hadn't realized. Dear lady is absolutely right. As your friend, you embarrass me as well as yourself, Rita. But didn't you tell me? This was a trick. H.'s honorable silence over the corner street. Can you deny your tiny brain imagination? Oh yes, I think my time.
Yes!
Well, I can't. Anyway. Waiter brought my steak. Mr. I raised your glasses and toast. Oh, yeah, he always seems to be that case. I'm hoping that at the end of this, his hair falls off. Again. As far as I heard, the postmortem reports show no possible other cause of death besides the gunshot.
Yes!
Yes, it's written here in the paperwork. Fatal hemorrhagic from ballistic trauma. Yes. For all this, the little burn on the wrist is in order to kill us. If there's no other signs of trauma on the victim's body, indicates some other cause of death. Bullet from a gun that couldn't have emptied us in his life. It doesn't make sense. The burn may have happened straight away. The plate was first brought to the table by the waiter. Yes, that's true. If it had cooled ever slightly, it wouldn't have been able to burn like that. The victim burned his wrist on top of it as soon as he was brought over out of the kitchen. Then he must have already been dead at that point.
Objection!
And yet, the fact that the victim was killed by gunshots in his chest. So you're able to show the evidence court to disprove that. This is a complete waste of time. Skirachi is right.
Japanese breathing, but she doesn't seem to want to say very much. The more she says, the more she's likely to do. So much one knows only that too well, she's quite vulnerable. This is where it tells us that, for sure. This is promising because they should find out what. First things first, first of all, everything she's slowly trying to report out. What is it, Cosmo? What are you thinking? Oh, that's all.
Yes!
Without leaving a trace. If someone was shot or struck or stabbed or thrown, however a person might have taken, there's always a telltale trace in their body. Quite right, dear lady. And as our police force so thoroughly examined the body of the deceased, there could be no doubt. Isn't that right, Inspector Rosen? As I've said, I always aim for the flawless investigation. There should be no physical trace of these causing deaths that should trace someone. If heaven forbid you doubt me, one has to tell Onyx how exactly you think the professor did lose his life. Otherwise, I'm afraid your argument falls right flat, doesn't it? Harrison thought he was such a sweet young ladies in the same question. On my honor, I, Suchi Ashi, will cut down any years cast such aberrations. There's no trace. There's evidence backs up. Yes, evidence.
Yes!
Inferior, what do you mean by that? In the lands of the Great British, we store everything found in a crime scene for later examination. In this country, you can investigate once, and that's it. The end of it. Isn't that so? Quite right. Our carnival is open for business as usual today, just like many times in the future. Exactly, which means that the investigation takes a different direction.
Wait.
Vital evidence may be lost. It doesn't even occur to you, detectives, to try and preserve the crime scene. I'm trying to be as tactful as I can, you understand? Another blow, a lady as full as you, as she is beautiful. It's actually making our policeman flawed, perhaps, but Oscar's finally starting to see sense. I very much doubt that. Still, there's something about Miss Brett just was going for something that wasn't quite right. Instead of targeting the woman herself, let's see what we can get out of the detective. Alright then. What Cosmo's thinking. I'll find out some office space. Once I press Miss Brett, I'll ask them to go.
Yes!
Wait.
there it is again. The detective's reaction is just the same as before. Why? So now the detective has been in the stand with Miss Brett as her interpreter. But things are very different now. For this testimony, the detective is just listening to what the English woman has to say. That could be a golden opportunity. What do you mean? People are actually testifying. I'm usually very careful not to let anything slip. Listening to someone else speak, they often let their guard down. Right. He's lost his own thoughts. It's time to pursue the man who's trained defense. Sorry, pursue. I'll explain how to do it now. Read your screen.
Yeah?
I have to do it with How clearly do I sound? How about now? Look. Okay, alright. I can be heard just fine. Alright. Thank you. I'll explain it how to do it now, Ryunosuke. All you have to do is it's all to do with the witness marker. Why can I not say that? What mark? At the moment, we are focused on Miss Brett, who is a person actually making the current statement. But by moving the marker to the left or the right with AD, you can turn your attention to the other people in the stand. While looking at other witnesses, you'll be able to pursue them with space. If you can catch a person at just the right time, you might be able to uncover some new information to pursue. If you ever notice a strange atmosphere amongst the people in the stand, take a look around. Alright then, I should move the markers across with A and D and focus on the detective. How does it sound now? Here we go.
Wait.
Okay.
Excuse me.
What's the meaning of this? Yeah, sure. Okay. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to shock you. He really was lost in his thoughts, deeply. It looks like you were thinking something just now, Inspector. Perhaps having heard what the lady said next to you perhaps having heard what the lady next to you had to say. Are there something you'd like to say? Please, share it with the court.
Objection!
What is the meaning of this? It's a delightful Englishwoman who's testifying at the moment. If you can't find fault in her testimony, then cross-examination should be over immediately. Oh, is that how it works? Absolutely not. Detective is in the stand, which makes him a valid witness. Yes, not to mention the fact that he intimately involved in the case. Inspector Hoshinaga. Yes? Do you have something to add in relation to the statement just made by Miss Brett? Well, yes. If you don't mind, I would like to speak. The lady is right. Our country's police practices are not as modern as those used in Great Britain. Which is why I, Setsuro Hoshinaga, always try to make every investigation I'm involved in flawless. What do you really mean by that? I'll tell you what I mean. I don't have evidence lacking on my watch. I'm not afraid to take everything I can from the scene of the crime. It is preserving evidence, you see. I don't care if they call me a crime scene thief. I'm not ashamed of what I've done. A crime scene thief? Well, it looks like the lady's remarks touched a nerve there. Take this, for example. Is that? This is the bottle of carbonated water that I took to the victim's table on the day in question. And yes, it's all lost in its fizz and having been popped open for 30 days now. But it was carbonated water. I don't care what anyone says. Yes, there is some left in the bottle. I can see it. One day, our police force will be among the best in the world. The time is coming. I guarantee it. I can't say I condone the witness's actions, but I do understand the sentiment. The court will accept the glass of bottle as evidence. Miss Brett? Can you affirm this is indeed the bottle from which you drink on the day of the victim's death? Yes, it was that bottle. What was that about? She seemed to avert her eyes when she answered the judge's question. Very well. Counsel, you may resume your cross-examination. And Inspector, will you kindly control his favor? Ahem. The label is written on a foreign language that I don't recognize. Do you know what it says, Kazuma? I think it's French. It must be very expensive water. Yes, but what does it say? That's what I was asking. Then go to France and ask. You could just say that you don't know. This carbonated water is the last drink Dr. Wilson ever had. Looks like there's a little left in the bottle, although it's just plain water now. You know, I've been sweating so much, I'm absolutely parched. I'll just have a sip of this and keep me going. No, Ryunosuke, you can't do that. For one thing, that's evidence. We can't go drinking evidence. Oh no, you're right. We don't know what might be inside, do we? You never cease to amaze me, Ryunosuke, in more ways than one. I wonder, could there be anything in this water? What's the matter? You've gone quiet all of a sudden. I think I might have just worked something out. An interesting possibility. Just a little sippy quickie.
Yes!
What is this? The bottle of water? Actually, there is one method of killing a man without leaving a trace that comes to mind. Obviously, I'm referring to poison. Poison? On the day of his death, we know that Dr. Wilson drank from his bottle of carbonated water. Could it be that there was a poison inside? Could it be that the professor actually died after taking a sip from his glass? Order! 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 And on that day, who was sitting at the table as the same as this professor and able to sip the poison into his drink? There's only one person who could have possibly done it. Giselle Brett, it was you.
Objection!
This is outrageous. To suggest such a thing without a scrap of evidence. You rookie, little rookie. Have you ever considered how delicate the situation is with the country? Have you forgotten that we have only just signed a accordance friendship with the British Empire? Have you forgotten the vaguest inkling that your rash accusation could jeopardize the entire treaty?
Objection! This
is not political arena. This is a trial to determine one individual's guilt with respect to one crime. What? The fact that this woman is British makes no difference. We are here to determine the truth. Ahem. If I may, I will silence you forever. It is you who should be silent. Now, what did he say? I will silence you forever for your disgraceful attack on this lovely young... Okay. Oh, of course. Dear lady. Where did that come from? She just snapped. I'm afraid I may have spoken unfairly before. Offer my most humble apologies. I'm sorry, my lady. To what are you referring? I described your police force as inferior, but no matter how inferior they may be, you still investigate this particular point thoroughly, I believe. The bottle, I mean, Inspector, and whether it contained poison or not. Of course. You did? Have you forgotten what my guiding principle is already? I strive for a flawless investigation every time. I don't believe it. Naturally, we tested the inside of the bottle and its contents. And what did you find, Inspector? I ordered the test for every toxin that's available in the country at the present time. We can find no trace of poison of any description in the bottle's carbonated water, Your Excellency. What? Are you sure? The tests were meticulously carried out by the chief coroner herself. No. No! I'm very grateful to all you Japanese. You successfully established my complete innocence in this horrid affair. Thank you. But of course, dear lady, the pleasure was all ours. I was so sure. This can't be right. Everything falls into place if he was poisoned. Thank you, Consul. I think that cross-organization has clarified everything. As the prosecution has asserted, a shot to the chest from this gun is the only conceivable cause of death. Furthermore, the accused, who, by his own admission, was holding this weapon, is the only possible culprit. I'm done for. Council wishes to apologize for being a great inconvenience this has caused you, Miss Brett. Oh no, I'm just glad the matter is resolved. Before proceeding, I must ask the counsel for the defense. Do you have any further new evidence to present the court at this point? Kazuma? I'm sorry, Ryunosuke. I have nothing more. Well, if you'll excuse me now, I really must be leaving.
Hold it!
Who said that? Please, wait. Huh? Isn't that? What is the meaning of this? Forgive me for intruding on the court proceedings, Your Excellency. Susasato Toba, Judicial Assistant to the Defense. Mikotoba? In my darkest hour, with nowhere left to go, she appeared like a bolt of lightning. And in her hand, she carried a small package wrapped in a furoshiki cloth. Oh, you gotta be fucking kidding me. I'm pretty sure it's more like my Maya than Mia. It's someone I don't really know. My Mia, I'm pretty sure, is Kazuma. At least for now. Well, I understand you are the judicial assistant to the defense, but why is the sudden ingress in my courtroom?
Ha! A judicial assistant? A woman, no less. The rules state that females are not permitted in this court of law other than to testify.
Yes, I fully understand. I ask only for 5 minutes of time. I have some vital evidence that must be handed over to the defense.
Ah, you're too late, little girl. This trial has already been concluded.
5 minutes. I will not allow a moment more.
But why? Your Excellency.
I am most grateful. Who exactly are you? I'm sorry, there's no time. Please, simply accept this now. What is it? A report about something written in English? It's Isabel's research. The Englishwoman's? After their trial resumed earlier, I hurried back to the university. I went to Dr. Will's laboratory in the medical facility and borrowed this paper. Oh yes, that's right. Miss Brett was studying under the professor, wasn't she? So, does this research, whatever it is, have something to do with the case? I'm afraid I don't know. I haven't been able to listen to the proceedings of the trial myself. Oh, no, of course not. Special characteristics of a curvature and its effects on the human subjects. Interesting. Curare? What's that? I've never heard that word before. Time's up. Prosecution demands immediate removal of this female trespasser from the courtroom. There was too little time for me to read it in detail, but I've summarized what I could on a note on the inside of the cover. If you think it would be valuable, please cast your eye over it. This is wonderful, thank you. Giselle's report has been entered in the courtroom. Goodbye then, and good luck. You have long enough, counsel. We cannot detain our English guest any longer. I ask the prosecution and defense now one last time. It's the paralyzation of the body and subsequent deaths, even in minute doses. The above-mentioned effects occur when the poison enters the body through a wound, such as it inflicted by a blow dart. Due to its ability to render the human body paralytic, it is believed that the toxin could have exhalation as an anesthetic. However, solution for the respiratory arrest caused as a result of the full body process must be found first, or patients would die of suffocation. Does either side have any further evidence to present to the court? I presume not, but... The prosecution has made its case convincingly enough already. Nothing more to add, Your Excellency. Ryunosuke, right options here. This really is our very last chance. Yes, I know. Your Excellency, the defense does have new evidence. That look. The unyielding stare of a true Japanese warrior. Well, Miss Brett? Yes, Your Excellency. If you wouldn't mind, perhaps you could grace us with your presence a little longer. It is a delightful invitation, but I'm afraid it's not very long until tea time. I have to politely decline. Forgive me, Miss Brett. It seems I wasn't clear. I realized that it was phrased as a question. However, I must ask you to treat this as an order. I've said it many times before, but the Japanese language makes no sense. My apologies, dear lady. So, counsel. What is this new evidence that demands the court to get attention?
Yes!
Miss Giselle Brett, we understand you are studying under Dr. Wilson at the UMA University doing research. Research, by sheer coincidence perhaps, into a deadly poison. What? Poison? Where are you going with this, counsel? A toxin known as Carrere, Your Excellency. Even the slightest amount of this deadly poison entering the body leads to instant death.
Objection!
What? What complete and utter nonsense? Carrere, you say? I've never heard of it. You wouldn't have done. What do you mean? I mean that you wouldn't have heard of the Carrere before for one very simple reason. It doesn't exist in our country. It doesn't exist? Correct. Which means, no matter what test the police can do for toxins, they never identify Carrere. Why? Because there is no test available here that can identify the presence of a highly deadly poison. What? Order! 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 Counsel, does this deadly poison truly exist? According to this report authorized by the visiting research student from England, Carrere has long been used by the tribespeople of South America as a poison to lace their arrows. It seems that the reasonably well known among the European doctors and scientists. To lace their arrows? There's a report that states that it produced from the extract of the tree that grows deep in the Amazonian jungle, and it was first brought back to Europe at the turn of the century by explorers. It claims that the animals shot by the arrows laced with the Carrere suffer instant death. Doesn't that sum it up, Miss Brett?
Objection!
Trumpery. These apparitions are utter trumpery. To start with, if the victim had been administered of some so-called deadly poison, he would have been squirming and writhing in pain. Other diners would have been surely noticed. That's true. What do you say to that, Inspector? Obviously, I would have noticed a disturbance like that. I don't remember anything like that either. I didn't notice the professor being in any kind of pain. According to this, however, it's the other way around. What do you mean, the other way around? The very fact that the victim didn't know any visible signs of distress is evidence that the Carrere was used. Explain yourself, counsel. The moment this toxin enters a person's system, it causes instant paralysis. In other words, afflicted victims lose all strength and are unable to move. Even if they were in total agony, there would be no visible signs of pain at all. How terrible. Obviously, a man lost all his strength in his muscles. He collapsed on the floor. But with the chair under him for support, Dr. Wilson did. The effects would go largely unnoticed. But I didn't. But I don't follow, Cosmo. That's just paralysis. I thought the poison caused instant death. The full explanation is extremely unpleasant. The poison causes immediate paralysis, as I said, leaving the victim unable to move. But after a short time, the paralysis is so severe, it causes the muscles that control respiration to fail. Respiration? In other words, the actual cause of death is suffocation. And all the while, the victim is conscious and aware, just unable to move. That's hideous. I guess so, Rick. I don't know. This is the first trial. I honestly don't know who brought the window open in this trial. To Zerbo, it would have looked almost like a victim was sleeping peacefully into endless sleep. But for the victim himself, his final moments would be a living hell. That is the true nature of this deadly curature poison. And you're suggesting that this bottle, Counsel, actually contains this terrifying poison?
Objection!
This is all very convenient, isn't it? A hitherto unknown poison for which there is no means of testing. What a happy tale for the defense. Ahem, if I may. All these facts, you think you're so clever, but you must have been taught something. It is you who must be taught.
Oh, of course. Dear lady. So this is how you Japanese behave, is it? What? You steal another's honest hard work and then announce the results as if you discovered them. I'm appalled. What a loathsome act. Well, Miss Brett, the feeling is mutual. Whatever do you mean? The capitalizing on the unfortunate circumstance of an innocent man to frame him for a heinous crime. That really is a loathsome act. Wouldn't you agree?
Objection!
Enough of this. I, for one, refuse to accept it. The idea of some poison that doesn't exist in the great empire of Japan is breaking the rules. What's so funny? Oh, excuse me, Your Excellency. Yes, Miss Brett? May I borrow that bottle for a moment, please? Well, yes, I don't see it. Why not? Don't get too big for your boots, you insignificant little island boys. Sorry. To English women such as myself, this whole affair is a farcical comedy. You little police games, these foolish courtroom antics, and it's laughable, really. But I'm getting bored of it all now. It's time for this game to end. Cheers. Wait, what? What are you doing? No sparkle left at all. How appropriate for this shabby affair. Yeah, that's cool and all, but I just updated the autopsy report now. So sorry about that. Goodness. Whatever is the matter? You all look quite stunned. So, no career? The bottle was clean. Is that what you're saying? You look quite incredulous, little boy, but of course, that's just the simple truth. Thank you for presenting the findings of my research so concisely here in this grand venture, most kind. Thank you, waiter. Now then, Your Excellency. Yes, Miss Brett. I should like to be excused now, please. I think I've given more than enough of my time, and for the furtherance of my friends and between countries. Ah, yes, dear lady. We are most gratified with all the assistance you've been given. This doesn't make any sense. There had been poison in that bottle. So how? How did she... It's so simple. All she did was use... how did she swallow a whole glass and live to tell the tale? Well, she didn't place it. She didn't place it in the bottle. She placed it in the glass. Just like how you would do with any poison. It would look weird if you would cheers and not drink. I don't understand it. Well, I suppose if nothing else, this is a little Far Eastern charade. Will make for an interesting conversation at the next party I attend in London. There has to be been poison in that bottle, doesn't there? But I can't have been, because otherwise she would have keeled over dead. Come on, Rinnosuke. We have all the clues now. That bottle of water. Contains no poison. Rinnosuke. Isn't it obvious? If there was poison in there, she'd be dead by now. Sometimes, your unadulterated naivety really astounds me. But sometimes, it's in need of a good staining. Until it is as dark as your uniform in the ways of the world. Oh, is it that? What the color is supposed to represent? That was a guiltless and into the promised line. Account for that, which you will be wait, what? What? What?
I swear, the way it does questioning just doesn't seem right. The culprit did put Courier into Dr. Wilson's carbonated water. The defense refuses to change its position. You're serious?
Objection!
Fool, are you blind? There is no possible way for the bottle to contain poison. I mean, we just saw Miss Brett drinking the water from it. That's right, which is rather complicates your argument, I think. And I believe that complication could be explained. How, exactly? I need to think through all the things that don't quite up here, one by one. I'm sure that the answer is in the evidence we have in the courtroom somewhere. It has to be. Very well. The defense truly intends to assert their claim. Then I must ask you to support your assertion with evidence. What explains how the witness is able to consume the supposedly poisoned water unscathed? Let me look over this again.
Yes!
Nope, it's not it. No, I think she poisoned the glass. A bullet would not be poisoned. He couldn't invade the stake. It You know, I might look it up because I honestly have no idea how to explain it. So I should have. answer to the riddle is right here in Miss Brett's own research report.
Objection!
That's not a valid explanation. No. After all, we don't speak English. That report is utter gibberish. The impudent little scoundrel is trying to ridicule the court, Your Excellency. I'm not trying to ridicule anyone, honest. I'm just reading Setsuko-san's notes. Kerr, this report is too extensive to be considered in entirety by the court. It will direct us from the printed session, Counsel. Which section of the report reveals the alleged answer to the riddle? We've been hearing a lot about this career poison, and it lets me curious about something. Oh, Counsel? Well, it sounded as if though the indigenous hunters have been using this poison for years and years, to lace the heads of their arrows so that they shoot at whatever prey they're hunting. So we've been led to believe, yes. And the point of the hunting is to catch prey to eat. Get to the point, please. But if they were to use these laced arrows, doesn't that mean that there would be traces of poison left in the prey that the hunters were going to eat? Yes, good point. So surely the hunters wouldn't want to eat their prey, would they? Because they would be eating poison. Good gracious, Counsel. No, that would be madness. But I actually found the answer to that conundrum. In this research report here, under special characteristics, it says this. The poison starts to work after entering the body through a wound. Through a wound, you say? I see, that makes sense. Yes, the mention of that particular detail seems a little strange to me, though. But it all makes sense when you interpret what's written like this. When the current enters the body through an open wound, it would has a terrifying poisonous effect. However, when it enters the body via the mouth, it has no poisonous effects whatsoever. What? Miss Brett, you authored this research. You knew Career's special characteristics, and you knew that you would make a spectacle of drinking that water without any danger to yourself. You meddling little... What the fuck? Rapscallion! Well, Yunosuke, it turns out you're an even better lawyer than I thought you'd be. Really? Me? A lawyer?
Objection!
All this poison talk is fascinating, I'm sure, but I fail to see how possibly... So, the ill-bred little puppy has a new toy to play with, some facts he read in a book. But I'm afraid knowledge doesn't suit you, little boy. It only makes you look silly. What are you trying to say? Your schoolboyish logic has a fatal flaw. Schoolboyish? Flaw? As even if your brain can manage to do this, the Carrera is safe to ingest. It seems likely that the effects are neutralized by the acidic nature of the gastric substance. Oh, yes, well, of course. Gastric suckers? What are they? So, if this lethal poison is completely unharmed when drunk, then the professor wouldn't have died when he swallowed it, would he? Ah! That's right. Good gracious. That's basic science. Science that even a schoolboy should be able to understand, no? Order! Order in the court! Order! The logic holds. If the lady and the professor drank the same poison, they would be affected in the same way. Are you trying to suggest? Yes, the Guerrero poison is completely irrelevant to the case. That's right. Surely even a little cockroach like yourself will be able to understand something as simple as that. What is this welling up inside of me? I've never felt like this before. It's sort of conviction that breaks down all the dark circumstances. It's so intense, almost rage-like. And more than anything else, it's an animalistic desire to take down my prey. Objection! I guess this one is alive. I don't think so, Miss Giselle Brett. How dare you use that tone with me? You know very well that there's no fatal flaw here. You know exactly why, even though both you and the victim swallowed the same poison. You are alive, but Dr. Wilson is dead. Counsel, I'm sure I don't need to remind you. You must provide compelling evidence, as we may know that this poison is completely harmless when ingested. Why would Dr. Wilson alone have been killed by the Courager?
Take that!
As Miss Brett so readily pointed out, she drank the same water as the professor. However, there is a fundamental and fatal difference between the two diners. Fatal difference? The toxic effects of a cure are only felt when the poison enters the body through an open wound. So, for a healthy person with no injuries, drinking it as completely harmless? But what if there was a wound inside the mouth of the person drinking the poisoned water? Inside? Yes, like the wounds you might have if you had just been to the dentist and had a tooth extracted, for example. It's a root canal. He had a root canal done. Miss Brett, you acknowledged as many times in your testimony already that you were well aware of Dr. Wilson's dental appointment that day. Ugh! So that's it. You used that knowledge to orchestrate this. Is she laughing? I don't like repeat myself, but honestly, I can't resist. Those childish courtroom games and your half-baked arguments are all so puerile. What do you mean? Don't worry, little schoolboy. You'll find out soon enough. You see, when you leave vital evidence lying around, you never know what might happen to it. No! I mean, it could just slip. You bitch! Oh dear, how careless of me. I'm afraid some crucial evidence may have just been tragically destroyed. No! Officer, what are you waiting for? Collect as much water from that broken bottle as possible at once. You're wasting your time. This delightful carpet under my feet here was a gift from the British Empire. I assure you, it will soak up the water beautifully, and you will have neither the technology nor the presence of mind to recover it. How could you? You won't get away with this. You can thump at the bench and shout as much as you like, little boy, but I'm afraid we'll never know now, will we? If there really was poison in that bottle or not. You. And let us not forget, we still have some very compelling evidence left intact. Isn't that right, counsel for the prosecution? Oh, of course, of course. You're referring to this photograph of Pruner, I presume, dear lady. That's right. And really, looking at this photograph, it is as clear as day, isn't it? The poor professor was sitting with his back to me. So of course the only person who could have shot him from the front is the little schoolboy.
Objection!
No, you killed the victim that day, using career. And then, in order to frame Ryunosuke for the crime, you waited until he picked up the pistol you arranged for him to find on the floor, before you shot the professor dead in the chest with your own hidden gun. Then, in the confusion that followed, all you had to do was just turn the dead professor in his chair around. You see? You had every opportunity to commit this crime. Well, as you can see, Japan does not have a very good system. What an admirable imagination you have, young man. A hidden gun, you say? And I shot the professor's dead body, did I? Well, I'm terribly sorry, but you don't have a shred of evidence. Exactly. And as you have nothing to support your wild claims, prosecution's stances remain unchanged. The victim, Dr. John H. Wilson, was killed by a gunshot to the chest. Delivered in cold blood by the accused, Ryunosuke Naruhito. Ugh. This is unbelievable. How can this be happening? We had her, but now, is she really gonna get away with it? The way she destroyed that evidence was obscene. Ryunosuke. Yes, we've come this far, but now you're the only one who can finish it. What? What do you mean? We've lost a vital piece of evidence. It's true. So if that were any clues left for us to use now, then they must be in your head. In my head? You told me before that your powers of observation were one thing you could readily depend upon. Well, yes, that's true, but I didn't manage to notice that the woman was in that foreigner with a swan on her head. So think back again now. Try to remember every last detail about the scene that day. Everything you saw, everything you felt, every color, every smell. What I saw, what I felt. Every color. Is Cosmo right? Somewhere in that vibrant memory of this same scene in my head, could there be another clue to this expose the identity of Dr. Wilson's killer? Why would I say there's not a clue? Actually, Cosmo, I think I might have something. Thinking back over everything I saw, I think I might as well cover another clue. You always have something up your sleeve, don't you, Ryunosuke? Come on then, let's wipe the smug smile off that Englishwoman's face with some evidence. Alright, I can't wait. It's been niggling at me for a while. Something feels amiss in the memory of that day. Whatever it is, it could be the key to arriving at the truth about all this. It's here somewhere. It's a clue that shows that Dr. Wilson's killer must have been.
Take that!
Take that! Inspector Oshinaga, answer me this. Yes? What is it? Ugh, he's still miles away, probably thinking about that bottle being smashed. As you said a number of times now, you strive for the perfection in your investigations, don't you? Absolutely. I wonder, therefore, if perhaps you took anything else from the scene of the crime. Like, for instance, the plate of the steak that took the victim's table that day?
Objection!
Wait a minute. Where are you going? Where are you going with this, little boy? It's just a memory that's been troubling me. One memory. I saw that scene in the photographic print with my own eyes that day. And I saw that on the wooden base of the plate, their steak that was served on, was a splattering of blood. What? Oh, really? And what of it? Obviously, that must have happened when you shot the professor. No, that can't be the case. Take a good look at the photograph and relative position of everything there. The plate and the steak are almost directly behind the victim. if I'm supposed to have shot Dr. Wilson in the chest from the front, there's no way that blood from the victim could have ended up directly behind him. And there is no exit wound. Yes. For the blood to have made it onto the plate, it implies that the plate was between the victim and the shooter, which means the shooter must have been sitting opposite the professor as you were. Jezebel Brett, I beg your pardon?
Objection!
This is beyond ridiculous, fabricated nonsense. Is this court seriously expected to believe something accused has apparently just remembered seeing?
Hold it!
This could be the moment that the entire career in the police force has been leading to. Inspector, you mean? Yes, I took the plate, in the interest of preserving evidence from the scene of the crime. I took it, meat and all, and I don't care if they call me a crime thief because of it. You did what? I took the steak that you've been eating, Miss Brett. I took the steak that the sergeant had been eating. And I did it all in the name of justice. Then we can find out for sure whether or not there's a bloodstain on Miss Brett's plate. Let's examine it now. Inspector, the court wishes to examine the plate from the victim's table immediately. Yes, sir. Sorry for the delay. Here is what you ordered. The steak. Well, what about the blood? Is there blood on it? Of course there isn't. Quickly, Inspector. The blood, man! Show the court! Of course. Examine the plate at your leisure. No! No! No blood anywhere. But... no, that's... impossible! It was right there on the table behind the professor. There's blood on the side of the plate. What an unbecoming expression, little boy. You see, this is why I say you can't trust what Japanese tell you. Yes, I couldn't agree more in the case of this disgrace to this empire. I believe we may have finally reached a conclusion to this trial. Let's hope so. Let's pretend attempt at courtroom proceedings is painful to watch. I do promise to do my best to forget all about it when it's over. This sorry steak reveals the facts all too clearly. If the sorry-looking accused wishes to examine it again, be my guest. Was it just a figure of my imagination? What the fuck? Huh? What in the world is this? I think it's a Koban coin. Wait, the Koban coin from earlier? A hallmark from the Ho era, I believe. No, you don't... I don't mean... What is it? I mean... What is it doing there? It's the one that the old man lost earlier, which y'all didn't see. Sorry, hearing that. Bob, holy shit. Wait, did you just say Hawaii boat Koban? Yes, and apart from the meat juices, it looks like it's in good condition. I mentioned it's very valuable. This isn't the first time today that there's been a talk of the Koban. I heard of pearls before swine, but I never heard of bullion and bullion. And I don't think you ever will again. This extraordinary, though. This means... I certainly never expected to find a precious coin underneath this thick cut of meat.
And if it's from the Ho era too, that means it's really quite valuable. It's well marinated, the juice as well. Look. What? What are you thinking of, just eating it? No, but next time I order a steak in this expensive restaurant, one thing's for sure. My heart's going to be racing as I lift up this meat and peer underneath for a prize. I think you might have the wrong end of the stick about this, Ryunosuke. A Koban coin underneath the steak? There's only one logical explanation. This is it now. I've lost. Ryunosuke. It's not over yet. Not until the final gavel. Never stop believing in yourself. Keep looking forward, no matter what. Believe in myself. Really? Maybe I should at least examine the evidence for myself. As the evidence requested by the defense has not been shown to be prominent in any way, I presume that any further examination of the evidence in this trial will be unnecessary. Does the defense have any objections? That bloodstain was going to clinch the trial for me. Can this plate of steak really reveal any other clues? There's another clue. Actually, please wait. This plate of beef has hiding another clue. Another clue that you reveal shocking truth. The only thing that's shocking here is your unhealthy fascination with the beef steak. Your Excellency, I think I've made myself quite clear, haven't I? I will not be able to turn a blind eye to any more necessary procrastination in this trial. I'm sorry, Miss Brett, but we must ensure a thorough examination of the evidence. I will not give a ruling until I am completely satisfied that all reasonable doubt has been dispelled. I see. As a newly affirmed ally of my country, that's still your position, is it? Thank you, Your Excellency. Counsel, for the defense, you will now clearly show the court as to what you are concluding. Oh my god, I have to go through this all again. Please skip. Please skip. Turn the middle part around. Like to where it's falling out. Do you mean like this? Is that what you're trying to say? Can I please pick it up? I can just present the Koban. Okay, there we go. Got it. Good gracious. That's... a Koban? What on earth? A Hoel Era 1 at that. Miss Brett. This is in fact the beef steak that you ordered at the restaurant on the day in question, is it? Tell me. Why is there old coin seemingly hidden underneath the meat? Whatever ridiculous question, how should I know? I've never seen that thing before in my life. I don't even know what it is, but I want no part of it. I fail to see how it's relevant. The coin under the meat?
That could simply have been careless mistake by the chef in the moment of distraction.
Objection!
Don't be absurd. We're supposed to believe that this happened by accident in the kitchen? A rare Hoel Koban just happens to be underneath that piece of steak? I'll rip up my ticket to Great Britain right now. He's right. It can't be a coincidence. Your Excellency. Yes, Counsel? A rare Hoel Koban just happens to be hidden underneath a piece of steak. If this turns out to be relevant to the case, I give up my lawyer job right now.
Objection!
By all means, don't let us stop you. No one invited you anyway.
Shut up!
Perhaps, little boy, you should realize that it is you who is relevant, even though I'm the one on trial here. The point is, it is essential that we ask the owner of this coin if he can explain what it's doing under the steak. The owner? Yes, it's obvious. The only one person who could belong to. The owner of the koban that was found underneath the beefsteak is...
Take that!
Take that! Obviously, it can only be the antiques dealer and the owner of Rashute, Kurio Kuta-san. Kuri? As in Mr. Cucumber something? Honestly, these people's ridiculous Japanese names are quite unfathomable. Ah, yes. The old man who testified earlier alongside with the military sergeant, correct? Yes, Your Excellency. I remember him saying that he was up to something with his koban coin when it happened. At the exact moment the gun was fired. But it's on the wood. The blood was on the wood. Too busy on the floor? Sorry, what were you doing? Hunting for treasure. Indeed, the Hoel era koban, my prized coin. Then the Hoel era koban? Do you mean to tell me?
Objection!
No, please. Why would Kuta-san's koban be sandwiched between the victim's beefsteak and its plate? It makes no sense.
Yes!
Which is why I'm asking to bring Kutakan back to the witness stand so we can ask him. Officer, bring both witnesses that testified earlier back in here. Without a moment's delay. Wait. Hold on. Can you focus? You're on trial here. Can't believe we come back round to that pair again. But I have a hunch, a strong hunch, that if we chase down the real significance of this koban, we'll find out the key element in this case. I swear, this game always makes me hungry. I have them all here at the witness stand. Holy shit. What's this about? Why haven't I been called up again? Do you realize that it's dinner time for little baby Edo? My village son's empty. He's fiercer than a pack of wolves. Exploited by the police we were, like miserable dogs, forced to bear false witness. And when cast from this courtroom, myself, I became the ruined man in a trice. A worthless, withered antique. Nothing more have, as I say. The sun has been set on this Rashute shop owner's existence. Be that as it may, Korakuden, something has become up light that requires your clarification. As far as your Rashute memory serves, have you ever seen... What? The foot! The knife fell on his foot! Yes, that's it, that very one. That very exact one that is. The resentment, spiniferous, Hoel treasure that my rusty bones managed to misplace that fateful day. That can't be. As I thought. Young man, enlighten this decrepit old fool, put me out of my misery.
Where was my treasure? Where did it drop? Oh, I'm not sure if it was dropped anywhere. We found your coin sandwiched in between the beef steak and its plate, soaking in the seasoned meat juices. Sandwiched? Soaking? Seriously? Clearly, it couldn't have fallen there by accident, which means somebody must have hidden it there on purpose. Somebody concealed my Hoel treasure between the slab of meat and a metal plate? Who would do such a thing? Such an unscronable thing. He's got a knife! Yeah. Excuse me. Could I say something? Yes, of course. Proceed, Inspector Hashonaga. I mentioned this earlier on the trial, but I was working undercover in the restaurant in order to investigate another case. Ah yes, that's right. The secret undercover operation. The La Carnival's high-class Western cuisine restaurant and attracts wealthy diners, including many foreigners. Recently, there's been a run of similarly executed thefts targeting the restaurant's rich clientele. A number of such has been reported to the police bureau. Wicked crimes indeed. You want to nip the case in the bud quickly? Where is my controller so I can just lay back and look at the screen? So that's why you were sent undercover, is it? Yes, I took on the job as a waiter at the restaurant in order to flesh out the criminal. It seems likely that this Koban incident is the work of the same thief. So I'm gonna suggest there's a master thief in the work at the restaurant on a regular basis. There's a place that was already at the scene of the crime several times, it seems. I don't know about the master thief part, but the identity of the person who stole and hid the Korakuda-san's Koban is all too clear. What? What? I think the court would like to hear the defense's view on this matter. Tell us, who is the discrepant scoundrel that stole Korakuda-san's Koban and hid it under a stick? Jesus, they always make them young. Why do they always make them so young? It's so fucking weird.
Take that!
Obviously, it can only be you. Sergeant Ariesa Noza. What? How? How dare you, you monster! Monster? I stole that Koban, did I? I'm the master thief of La Carnival, am I? You seriously accusing me of these crimes, cadet? But it wasn't me. It was Ido. Ido, the mastermind behind all of this. You would push the blame for your crimes on your own son, an innocent little baby? It's you who's the monster, Sergeant Noza. Man looking like Stalin, realizing his mistakes. Wait. Wait. Clippity-clop, 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 clippity-clop. Wait. What the fuck is happening? Nippon Imperial Army, sir. Sergeant Arizonosa, preparing to stand down in the Supreme Court, sir. Do any of you know of these extraordinary low wages the Nippon Imperial Army pays those it expects to keep our country safe? I understand that your temporary increase in taxation owing to the recent ended conflict remains in place. And I've heard it's hard for lower-ranked soldiers to make a living, yes? All I want is to put a hot meal on the table for my son. That's why you're stealing things at the restaurant? That place is heaving with money. Every 3 days, I go there and do a reconnaissance for a target. And I enjoy chomping my way through a good steak at the same time. It sounds like he doesn't bother with a knife or a fork, even, which is worryingly unbelievable. Wait. Bob. He did eat his children. Yeah, the baby was the mastermind. And your target that day was an old man and his koban. But instead of his hair strands, he used his fucking mustache. He was an easy mark. I slipped the coin into my pocket without any trouble at all. A veritable phantom thief you are. I was all set to leave the steak I was halfway through devouring when it happened. Yes, when the professor was shot. I knew that if the police conducted a search and found the coin in my pocket, I'd be finished. I'd owe too. So I had the incriminating evidence as fast as I could, on the double. And I slipped it under the steak, hoping that I would be able to rendezvous with it again at a later date. This is ridiculous. Perhaps you could carry on with this absurd prattling at your own time? Well, Miss Brett? Oh, of course, dear lady, of course. How rude of us. It's quite sure there's no need to detain you any longer at all. May these esteemed gentlewomen please be excused, Your Excellency? Indeed. The theft of the Koban coin was clearly perpetrated by this baby-saddled sergeant. It would clearly appear to be unrelated. I know that. I know, Bob. Yeah, you told me. It certainly appeared to be unrelated to Dr. Wilson's murder. Of course it is. Hiding a coin under a lump of meat? The sheer nonsense of such an idea astounds me. Nonsense, is it? Well, and for picking up your steak and biting into it without using a knife and fork. It's beyond nonsense. It's pure madness. Very well. Now that all the questions concerning this witness testimony have been answered, I see no further justification for detaining her. Miss Brett, you are free to leave. Thank you, Your Excellency. Good luck, everyone. And good day. Ryunosuke, what's the matter with you? There's no time for daydreaming. Oh, no, it's just some things about Miss Brett's parting words there got me thinking. I can't quite work out what exactly. But something she said jarred with me. I feel like there's a contradiction in there somewhere. Something doesn't quite add up. If that's the case, then don't stand there thinking. Make your voice be heard. Sorry. You can think later, but if you don't call out now, it'll be too late. This trial will be over.
Hold it!
Wait, Miss Brett. What is it now? I'm afraid, just one last time. There's something I'd like to ask you. I'd like you to explain the contradiction in your parting words from just a moment ago. What are you talking about? What contradiction?
Objection!
What new student nonsense is this? Well, what parting words are you talking about, Ryunosuke? Hiding a coin under a lump of meat? The sheer nonsense of such an idea astounds me. And as for picking up your steak and biting into it without using a knife and fork, it's beyond nonsense. It's pure madness. Yes, I'm right. What she said there exposed an undeniable contradiction. I'm going to need to see some evidence, counsel. If Miss Brett's words are truly contradictory, where is the evidence to prove it?
Take that!
The steak that Miss Brett had been eating before the professor was killed, yes? Go on. More accurately, Your Excellency, the steak that was on the victim's table just before the professor was killed. Now you're just splitting hairs. Not true. Doesn't something about this steak strike you as very unnatural? Unnatural? What on earth do you mean? It's extremely obvious. I'm talking about the shape of the edge of where it had been eaten. And I see you noticed it too, Miss Brett. Notice what exactly, Counsel? Just a few moments ago, Miss Brett claimed no English man would ever contemplate picking up a steak and biting into it without using a knife and fork. Of course she did. She's a refined English gentlewoman herself. Then take a look at the steak. In particular, the edges where they have been eaten. As you can see, there are clearly defined barbaric teeth marks there. Ah! It looks like Miss Brett has realized something. So, the witness, as she claims, wouldn't contemplate eating anything without using a knife and fork. There shouldn't be teeth marks on the steak at all. But, what is your actual point? Perhaps the delightful Miss Brett was ravenously hungry and couldn't help. Oh, whatever you say, dear lady. As I said, I really must be leaving now. Afternoon tea with the Minister of Justice cannot possibly wait any longer. Of course, this will all be over in a blink of an eye. Rest assured, I'm about to put this rookie in his place. Just leave it with me. I've heard enough. You irritating little spectacle samurai relic. It's my steak, I'll eat it how I want. Steak mun scat million. What's the matter, Miss Brett? Have you ruffled your feathers? Stalin couldn't come down and get a knife in his boot. Yeah. Clearly, the witness knows what this means. She realized the catastrophic implications these teeth marks and the steak have for her. Rinosuke, do you know what they're going with this? Yes. Now at last, it's all coming together. The mysterious teeth marks in the steak that had been allegedly been eating with a cutlery. The reason why the bloodstain I know I saw somehow seemed to have disappeared. And most importantly, the evidence that proves once and for all who shot Dr. Wilson that day. I accept that these teeth marks in the steak are a little unnatural, as you put it, Mr. Counsel, but what exactly are you suggesting that tells us? Everything, Your Excellency. Everything? Yes, I believe that these barbaric teeth marks in the steak here amount to the conclusive evidence in this case. Evidence that will prove beyond, without any doubt, who shot Dr. Wilson. Conclusive evidence? How many times have I heard that today? You wouldn't know the meaning of the phrase, typical Japanese empty threats. How can you be so sure? Oh, it's quite simple. If you really have such conclusive evidence, you would have presented it to the court long ago. Actually, the evidence I'm talking about hasn't been brought before the court yet. Hasn't it? What? Just because it hasn't been shown yet doesn't mean that the evidence does not exist. This is absurd. This trial has run several hours already. You say that there's evidence yet to be brought forward. There can't be. I don't believe you have it. I don't, but there is someone who does have it. Someone in this very courtroom. And if that person is willing to submit the piece of evidence I'm referring to, it will solve every remaining mystery about this case. Very well. I have a feeling this will be my last request of defense in this trial. You possess the evidence, but
Take that!
the answer is obvious. Inspector Hosonaga. What? I have it? Yes.
You think I'd be withholding conclusive evidence? That's ridiculous. No, I'm not saying that. Everyone's attention has been focused on the stake with the teeth marks. Yes. And now, earlier this afternoon, Sergeant Nosa told us, the court, the following. I'd enjoyed chopping my way through a good steak, and as well as admitting to stealing Korokanda's coin, as he told us that he slipped under the steak. You watch it, cadet. I'm a superior officer. Sergeant Nosa, could you please confirm something for me? Was the stake that you put under the coin in fact, your own stake? Tension? Affirmative, of course. I might be a soldier in the Imperial Nippon Army, but still. I'm not brave enough to ask a foreign gentle lady if she minded me manhandling her meal to hide something in it. In other words, the stake that had been detective submitted as evidence earlier was in fact Sergeant Nosa's meal. Man's dying. But that makes no sense. That plate was taken from the victim's table. Yet the gentlewoman doesn't take bites out of her steak, nor did she have any opportunity to steal the coin. Of course I didn't steal it. To even suggest such a thing would be an affront to the entire British Empire. Well then, how do you explain this paradox? I'm sure you're not going to suggest that the sergeant switched the two steaks over. You did switch the plates. Well, after it happened, when I saw the civilian been murdered right in front of my eyes like that, I panicked. As I said, I immediately lifted my stake and hid the coin underneath it. But then, when they later announced that he was an undercover policeman, I thought I'd had it. If he decided to investigate myself and me, that'd be it. I'd be getting my marching orders. So when the cadet here was arrested and taken off to the kitchen, I seized my chance. With military precision and timing, I switched the stake with one on the foreign lady's table. What? You can't have. I never saw you do such a thing. It was called Operation Lightning Bolt. There was no time for strategic planning. It was do or die, I tell you. So yes, I did what had to be done. Unbelievable! However, fear not, Prosecutor Son. What now? I swear on the brass buttons on my uniform, that is all I did, sir. All you did? That's plenty, Sergeant!
Yes!
So, if Sergeant knows to switch the plates over, that means that the misbred steak, the plate that it was on, is back to his own table. Yes, that follows. Inspector Hasunaga. Yes? Early in this trial, you told the court this. You said that you had not taken misbred steak after the incident, but also Sergeant's. That's to preserve evidence. You had taken both. That's correct. Then please present to the court now the plate that was actually on the victim's table at the precise moment he was shot. What can you possibly tell us now? I mean, a cold slab of tough meat, it can't be the slightest bearing on this.
Objection!
No, you're not wriggling your way out of this time, lady. I beg your pardon? Surely you're not forgetful. Surely you remember the reason why the steak pan promises to prove such a problem for you, no? You're the ones who decided that it was the problem, not me. The reason the defense asked to see the plate was to confirm something the defendant remembers seeing. Tis thinks he remembers. Quite sure what I saw, Miss Brett. On that side of the plate, there was a table directly behind Dr. Wilson, and there was clear splattering of blood from the gunshot wound to the victim's chest. Believing that the detective's memory serves him well. And now we have the evidence to prove it, and the plate you were eating from, Miss Brett. let us not prolong this any further. Inspector, will you show the evidence to the court? Present the beefsteak and plate that was originally on the victim's table at the time of the incident. Yes, sir. Sorry for keeping you waiting. There it is. Here is the other steak and its plate. Please, feel free to examine it. The bloodstain. It's clearly visible. Look.
Yes!
That makes everything clear. The bloodstain you see here on the side of the plate shows that the moment that the victim was shot, he was on the face of the table with his back to me. In other words, it's possible for Naruto to have shot the victim. Ugh! It can't be. In fact, there's only one person who could have possibly shot Dr. Wilson from the front. And I'm sure everyone knows by now who that person is. Ugh. That's right. Miss Giselle Brett. It's you. Oh god. The swan died. Outdone by a Japanese? Me? By a Japanese schoolboy? No. No. No! Yeah. Did it just lay eggs and chicks? Wait, did she... What the fuck just... Please excuse my little outburst. I briefly lost my composure. It was important to bring out the bloody plate. Why would you poison him before you shooting him? Before throwing him out of the plane? Because by shooting him, it pins the blame on someone else instead of who she was with. And the person that was holding the gun at the time. The swan was the mastermind. Yes, Rick. Please excuse my little outburst. I briefly lost my composure. Most unbecoming behavior for English gentlewoman. Forgive me. Well, Miss Brett, I think it's time for you to tell the truth that what actually happened that day. The truth, this time. Gladly, Your Excellency. It was I who took the Professor's light using Carrere. As you surmise, I chose that particular day for one very important reason. Professor added a dental appointment for extraction for one of his teeth in the morning. So you plan to kill the Professor, knowing that no trace of poison would be found in the water? Because Carrere is unheard of in Japan? Yes. Of course, I never intended to remain at the restaurant for as long as I did. I only need to see the Professor take one tiny sip of water, and it would all be over. I would place a steak I had ordered in front of him to make it appear as though he had been dining alone, and leave immediately. However, before any of that happened, there was an unexpected visitor at the Professor's table. That would be me, I suppose. Yes, you. Who else? Such a trifling matter, but the fact that you decided to come over to greet the Professor meant that I had lost my chance to slip away unnoticed. In due course, the Professor took a sip of his water and was paralyzed. I made sure he was sitting in his chair such that he wouldn't fall. There was no going back at that point, so I concocted a plan on the spur of the moment. A plan to pin Dr. Wilson's murder on this innocent man. I happen to know the professor always carried a gun, so I decided to use that to the fact for my advantage. I had the bottle of Carrera in my handbag, and my own pistol concealed under my skirt. Of course there would be. Under your skirt? So I was right, there were 2 guns. Yes. And then I finally finished my copy and got up to leave. That's when I noticed the professor's gun, which you had presumably placed on the floor, placing where you would sure that I would notice it. And everything went according to plan. You noticed the gun as I intended. Then, just as you bent down to pick it up, No, Sir Rick, you don't understand. Rick, no. Alright, so Miss Giselle was the one eating the steak. She then placed it... She ate the steak, and then she placed it over in front of him. So he didn't eat it. She just made it look like he ate it. To make it look like he was dining alone. Same with the drink, and there being only 1 glass at the table. That's when you shot the professor with your own gun. Even though at that point, he was already dead. Naturally, the gunshot caused a commotion, at which point the waiter appeared. Obviously, I assumed Naruhodo-san was the culprit and apprehended him. I took him into the pantry and adjoins the kitchen and locked him inside. That's when I took the opportunity to turn the professor in his chair around. Because, of course, he didn't make it look like the defendant had shot the Dr. Wilson from where he picked up the gun. They did. They did call out the steak being placed there. I mean, I think they even said, even when I was reading it, they said that she did indeed eat it, because she was using cutlery. She said that she went out there and she ate the steak. They already confirmed that she was at the table and eating it. That doesn't matter. That is entirely of my misdemeanor. So there you... Misdemeanor? I think it happened earlier when I wasn't streaming this. Your Excellency? Yes. I wonder... Might I speak with you in private later? I shall call on you. Thank you. Good day then, everyone. I hope you can forgive me, Naruhodo-san. I'm so confused. What the fuck? No, she isn't getting away with this, is she? It would seem this trial has finally run its course. So I'm guessing... Is Giselle gonna blow the judge so that she gets out of being in jail? I don't know. That's weird. Prosecution is in agreement? This can't be. Tatsuki Achi does not lose. Not the likes of this rookie student. You better start getting used to this tough opposition. Inosuke or Naruhodo. What? Yes? This insult to the Achi family's name will never be forgotten.
become conceited with age, counsel. But the old have to stand aside and make way for the new. How old is he? 51? It's the way of the world. May you never forget that. Yes! His hair has been... His boat thing has been cut. Yes, thank you. You cut his hair. 1,000 millennia have passed. And still, the Achi clan will never measure up to the Naruhodo clan. The trial in the Supreme Court of Japan will, I believe, go down in history as the start of the new chapter in the country's judicial system. Alright, I need to explain something real quick. So I'm not sure if anybody knows this, but as the change from the samurai to the Steel Age for Japan began, and the expansion of the world began, the first samurai that gave up their ways cut their hair to where they gave up their life as a samurai in order to do steel building and create new things such as that. So him cutting that right there made it into the legacy of the prosecutor Achi. I like that parallel there of history, and also it's funny that too. The use of evidence and deduction to unravel the truth is a modern technology. After all, it's only been a few short decades since the country opened its doors to the wider world. The Western idea of science are rapidly gaining acceptance here. I feel sure that this science will bring new methods of investigation and new procedures of justice. A new future law awaits, but what it will look like, I cannot begin to imagine. That is for the young to pursue. Kazuma Sugi? Yes? After this trial, you are set to embark on a journey of discovery to the illustrious British Empire. To learn all you can, absorb everything in the wider world that you're able to, and do not forget to fulfill the mission imposed upon you. I understand, Your Excellency. What was that about? Why do you look so grave all of a sudden? Never mind. As for you, Rinosuke Naruhodo? Oh, yes. In you, I sense, how can I put it, an unusual potential. I very much look forward to see how you will carry that onwards. Thank you, Your Excellency. It is time to deliver my final verdict. I hereby find the defendant Rinosuke Naruhodo not guilty. Now we're gonna do confetti. Oh, rose petals. I like that even better. But I still don't get it. Why did she do it? Why did she kill him? This court is adjourned. 22nd of November, 2:46 p.m. Supreme Court of Justice Jurisdiction. Defendant's Antechamber 5. I can't believe it. I can't believe what's happened. I made it. I defended myself and made it through that horrendous trial. Rinosuke, you finally pulled it off. Congratulations. Well, I couldn't have done it without you. Thank you, Cosmo. No, it was a pleasure to watch you at work. So you owe me an extra large sukiyaki from the place on the Yume University Street, don't forget. Good afternoon. All your hard work was certainly paid off. Congratulations to the both of you for proving Naruhodo-san's innocence. Ah, our trusty judicial assistant. You worked so hard for the result, too, you know. Oh, no, I didn't do any. Oh, thank you so much. If we hadn't had that research report of Miss Brett's, I don't know how things would have turned out. Your kind words should really be for my father. I was simply doing as he asked. It was his idea for me to go to the university and investigate. Your father? Ah, yes, of course.
Forgive me for intruding on the court proceedings, Your Excellency. Suso Sato Mikotoba, Judicial Assistance to Defense. Speaking of Mikotoba... Ah, there you are. I believe congratulations are in order. Naruhodo, you did an excellent job. Thank you, Professor. Oh no, it is I who should be thanking you, after all. Your efforts exposed the true criminal that took the life of my good friend. Good friend? Oh yes, you mentioned that before. It was you who actually invited Dr. Wilson to UMA University, wasn't it? Yes, that's right. Professor Mikotoba studied overseas himself. He went to study forensic medicine in Great Britain. Presumably, that's when you met Dr. Wilson? Exactly. In those days, we worked together in the same hospital. Oh, you worked together? I've never heard you mention that before. Well, it was a long time ago now. Besides, it's your turn, Asogi. Great Britain is a magnificent country. It leads the world in science, medicine, engineering, culture, and of course, in law. Watch and learn, my boy. See what's happening in the world's largest melting pot. I will. I'll learn all I can. I swear on this, the spirit of the Sogi clan. You're not taking that sword to Great Britain, are you? Of course I am. A Japanese man's katana is in his soul. His blade shows me where I need to go, and cuts out anything that's in my way. Yes, I've definitely seen how sharp it is already with my own eyes. Razzie, what happened to the woman? Giselle Brett, I mean. After all, she's guilty of murder. Ah, yes, her. It's not easy to tell you this, but... What do you mean? Surely she's going to face trial herself now. She's the true culprit, after all. She will not be leaving Japan in the very near future for She will be leaving Japan in the very near future for Shanghai. What? Shanghai? Giselle Brett will not appear in the court again in this country. I'm certain of that. What? But why not? It's a matter of consular jurisdiction. Inspector Hoshinaga. It was a hard-fought battle in the courtroom today. Very impressive to watch. I'm congratulating. What's all this about a consular jurisdiction? We cannot try this particular foreigner for her crimes here in Japan. What? We can't try her? But then who? Who's going to bring her to justice? A British consular court will hear her case, somewhere far away, where our voices can't be heard. But why a consular court? Professor, I simply do not understand. I thought the consular courts were a thing of the past now that we signed the Friendship Treaty. Yes, in normal circumstances, you're right. Then, as long as this is not a serious incident of highly political nature to our respective governments, they can't invoke a consular court just like that. Oh, can't they? Yes, she's a student, but it doesn't justify our government making secret agreements about her fate, does it? Something strange is going on. So, Miss Brett can't be held accountable for actions here in Japan? I'm afraid for that young student. Today's trial was nothing more than a game all along. There's never any danger for the comeuppance for her. I do not believe it. The British government Foreign Affairs Ministry has been demanded that we hand over custody of Miss Brett. They obviously taken the case of the Foreign Student committing murder very seriously. But it's all going to change from now on. We can make it change. This is a time of great turmoil, this new era held by the start of the 20th century. One day, I have no doubt that woman will receive the judgment she deserves. Yes, change is coming, and we are the ones driving it. Well, I think that's enough seriousness for now. This evening calls for a celebratory drink. Oh, Professor. You're right. This is no time for gloomy faces. We should be celebrating Rinosuke is not guilty verdict. Let's start having some fun. In that case, might I suggest the La Carnival? As that waiter, I should be delighted to provide you with ample food and drink. You're a detective, Hoshinaga-san, aren't you? Let's not worry about the details for now. To La Carnival, will you accompany us, Professor? Of course. La Carnival's food is second to none. I shall go and attend the paperwork for Naruto-san's release. Oh yes, thank you. My voice is starting to give out. I can't do this anymore. Such chill, Brett, Wumpy, tried here. I suppose that means I'll never know. I'll never find out why she killed Dr. Wilson. How long have I been talking for? 3 hours! Yes, Ryunosuke? I just want to say thanks again, that's all. You really saved my skin today. I didn't do a thing. You were the lawyer in there, weren't you? It was your own work. Your skills made the difference, though. One day, I bet you'll be the best lawyer in the world. I'm not so sure about that. To be honest, something kept occurring to me over and over again during that trial. I couldn't help thinking that maybe you were the one to do this to become a great lawyer, not me. What? Come on, can't be serious. If I helped you today, it was only right at the very start of the trial. But you have a natural talent for it, for being a defense lawyer. Oh no, not me. All that tense verbal comment. I never want to go through that again. I did what you told me to do, that's all. Because I knew I could trust you. That's the point. Sorry? What do you mean? That's the point. Listen, Ryunosuke. Do you know what's the most crucial weapon is that any lawyer needs in order to win? Knowledge of the law? No. The ability to believe. To believe? To believe what? A defense lawyer has to fight for his clients. He has the right to believe in them at all times. Like you believed in me when I said I didn't do it. I'm human, just like you. I don't have some superhuman ability to know the truth. But you have to make the choice about what to believe in and stick to it when you're defending someone. Sometimes in the courtroom, you can really be backed into a corner. But being able to remain faithful to what you chose to believe in, even then, well, that's not something that anyone can do. It takes a special kind of person. See, what you're saying is he's pig-headed. Believing in your clients. Just look at it, today's trial. I'm a student lawyer with precious little real experience, but you never stopped believing in me. Well, you faced seemingly hopeless situation time and again, but you never stopped looking for the truth. And in the end, you found it, through your own efforts, and because you never stopped believing in me. Thanks, Cosma. There's something I want to ask you, actually, Ryunosuke. Well, it's a favor, really. Something very important to me. It sounds serious. What is... Ah, you're still here, are you? Oh, Inspector Oshinaga. I arranged some rickshaws for us. Let's go. Thank you. We'll be right there. Let's pick up this conversation later. We should be celebrating right now. Your first court victory. And your study to tour to Great Britain, don't forget. Ah, yes, that too. You had the big funny man going like, hey, you had the big lawyer funny man going like, that watches the video like, this trial would have ended in mistrial so long ago. This is totally not real. This does not follow the law at all. Gets 5 million views. Amazing. So my very first trial came to end.
Kazuma, Professor Mikotoba, Sister Sato-san, who acts as my assistant, Inspector Hoshinaga, who didn't really play much of a part, but still. It was all because of the help and support of all these people that I managed to get through that trial. But more importantly, Kazuma hadn't yet managed to ask his favor of me. Little did I realize just how much it would change my life. And that's the end of part 1. Defense debut. I'm actually surprised they were able to get the game to do this. It was rather enjoyable to watch, and say the words as well. When I played this, the original trilogy, I felt like they had run out of ideas, and I never really touched much of the DS games as they were. I don't have access to them, but I mean, of course, there's more to it. I'm just gonna stop here now because my voice is giving out. But thank you all very much for watching that, or watching, and I guess reading along and hearing me speak. But yeah, I'll go and end the stream here. Thank you. And I'll have Ibuki Miyota and Peko Yama proceed to act like Kill la Kill for no reason.